everybody.
Go for it, guys. First off, congrats.
Thank you.
Just wanted your guys' thoughts on the performance and then the scorecards. There was, I guess you could say a little kind of all over the place, but just a great performance. Going back, a lot of hugging going on in the fight.
Yeah, there was a lot of hugging, a lot of holding, and I don't think I anticipated that. I anticipated her moving and punching and moving. And in the clinch, we had really decent exchanges last fight in 2018, and I guess I assumed that would be more so what would happen, and she would just be looking for overhand rights and uppercuts from me. And instead, there was a lot of overhand rights from her and a lot of holding and the cards. I mean, I'm sure it's very difficult to score a fight like that, so I'm not surprised by the draw by the one judge. But we're happy to come out with the win.
I was hoping we'd be able to finish strong and maybe get the stoppage, but Érica didn't quite cooperate with us. But we had to deal with what we had to do to get to the win. I'm glad we won. I'm sure Eddie's glad we won.
I thought the referee was terrible, personally. I mean, how you can only take 1 point. I mean, they took a point from Jessica for maybe one shot behind the back of the head because Farías was holding so much. They took 1 point from Farías. How they never took another point? I mean, it was ridiculous. And actually, I have to be honest, it was a close fight because Jessica wasn't able to do anything. But you couldn't possibly give the fight to Farías. Coming to fight like that, the first fight was one of the best women's fights I've seen. And that one was spoiled by someone who actually, after the first 2 rounds, she just wanted to survive. And I thought, it's never nice to criticise the referee, but I thought he was really poor. I thought at least another point, maybe even disqualification, because it was so excessive. And he couldn't even realise that every time she was holding on the blind side. Like every time if he was over this side, she had to right, and it was like, it took 10 seconds every clinch to get her off him. So, I thought the referee was poor, and I think really she can't, with a performance like that, with all the holding, in my opinion, she doesn't deserve to take the belts. And it had to be an ugly win. So it did have to be an ugly win. It was ugly.
Hey, the first time you worked with Team McCaskill in 2017, and it was a phenomenal fight, a great show between Jessica and Katie Taylor. That was at 135. Jessica obviously holds 2 belts at 140. Katie's moving up to fight for a belt at 140 here in a few weeks. What obligations does Katie have after that title fight, or could that unification come in a rematch at 140 pounds?
Well, I think there's loads of fights for both of them, basically. But when you look at Katie Taylor, you look at like Canelo, and that's like the similarities. So everybody wants to fight Katie Taylor because if you get that scalp, you've cracked it. You're the biggest star in the sport, and obviously it's a huge payday as well. So I think it's not just a case of Jessica looking at Katie Taylor. I think it's a case of Katie looking at Jessica because she's got 2 belts. And if Katie wants to stay at 140, she really has to fight Jessica McCaskill because that would be a 3-belt fight. And there's another belt, the IBF belt, which is supposed to be being competed for soon as well. So I think Katie's going to fight Linard too for the WBO. She may well rematch Pursoon back at the Undisputed at 135, and she wants to fight Amanda Serrano as well. But all the discussions that I've had with her team, Jessica's name always comes up, and I think we'll be back here in February, and possibly, yeah, we'll see. And I think the only thing I'd say is I think it's very difficult for people like Jessica to fight in Chicago because there's a lot of pressure, not just because of the support, but all the running around. I watch her Instagram, and Rick's like just non-stop working, pushing the show. They both do such a great job for the city to promote boxing, in the community. That I just feel something. Maybe I'm wrong, but Jessica will be able to. But I just think it's a big responsibility. Like, I went on Instagram this morning, and they were up at like 6 o'clock in the morning. I don't know what you were doing, having breakfast. I'm thinking, what are you doing? Who does that? So I think that's something you've got to cope with because obviously she won the belts here and it was great, and I thought it was a great performance by her in Maryland. And we can't really tell if it was a poor performance or not tonight because she wasn't really able to do anything. She had to just gut it out and grind it out. But she does have to improve to beat, Serrano and Taylor and those people. She's capable of doing it because on her day she's tough. She's tougher than anyone. But I do feel like, it's a tough job sometimes boxing your home city. Jessica, is it? Am I right or wrong?
Yeah, I mean, we know the city, the team knows the city, and we've had a number of different things that, everybody knows us, so then it comes down to people contacting us, can you do this for us? Of course, then we reach out to our network, and we've had runners, about 4 or 5 people from our team running for the entire week, just trying to get tickets and get shorts and get different things done, help out other fighters, everything, and we're more than willing to oblige just because that's the kind of people that we are. And so it is a lot more difficult to fight in our hometown, whereas when we went to Maryland, we were there a week early, and we did all the press conferences and things that we were obligated to do, but then we also had our own downtime, and we don't have downtime when we're home in Chicago.
Eddie, with that said, obviously you took her over to the UK, we've had her here now twice in Maryland. You speak of the pressure, what do you think maybe would be a good fit, for her to fight next?
Listen, if we're back in Chicago, obviously, she's from Chicago, so I'd probably like to see her fight for the IBF belt next. That's a fight coming up between, you probably know better than me, Mary McGee and a lady from Argentina. And I think that would be amazing if Jessica could pick up 3 belts there. And, listen, Taylor's got a tough fight against Renato. She's going to be game. So, but if Jessica could win that 3rd belt, then it would set up an undisputed fight with whoever has got it. I think it's an amazing story for Jessica. She flew over really unknown and took on Katie Taylor. Probably give her, outside of Bassoon, gave her the toughest fight of her career, unquestionably. So if she can pick up a 3rd belt, then someone has to fight her. I think it would be an amazing achievement if she could become undisputed champion.
With that, I'm assuming that she picks up the IBF and assuming that Katie comes out victorious in her fight at 140. Jessica would have 3 belts, that would make her the ace at it. Katie's what you're saying?
Tommy tells me about Jessica McCaskill, she's not really bothered what side she's on. She just wants, but she's got to a stage now where we know that this is a very dangerous sport. We've seen that tonight, and the aim for every fight must be to make sure that you're financially secure, or you do well from the sport. And I know that Jessica's in it because she loves the sport, and but ultimately, women now are making big money for these big fights, and she hasn't yet had a big fight, like a big fight, and we want to see her in those big fights. And obviously, if she picks up 3 belts, we talk about A side, B side. Well, she would have 3 belts, so she's got to make sure I want to pay her as much money as possible. It's true. It's true, and it's such a great time to be a woman boxer because, like 3 or 4 years ago, the money they were earning for title fights was, and now you've really got chances to have big fights. And the great thing about women's boxing as well, look at how we're talking about, we're going to do the 3 belts, then we're going to do the 4 belts. Well, you don't see that in men's boxing. It's so difficult. But we've got Kate Taylor went through the belt. She fought Bassoon for the undisputed. You've got Clarissa Shields is undisputed champion. You've got Cecilia Brackhouse is undisputed champion. So it's really refreshing that actually they're prepared to fight whoever. And the next job for Jessica, I think, is to try and pick up another belt in the division.
Where does Serrano fit into all of this?
Well, she's got a contract to fight Katie Taylor, but every time she signs a contract to fight Katie Taylor, she starts saying, well, if the money's right, I'll fight Katie Taylor. It's a bit confusing, really. I know her and Lou DiBella are having backwards and forwards, but as far as I'm concerned, that's a really big fight. But Katie's got Leonard 2 on November the 2nd, and then, you've got, I think she'll fight Bassoon or Serrano next, and if Jessica can fight for that other belt in the meantime, that could set something up really big for the summer.
Is Katie obligated to that Bassoon rematch, or
No,
is she just trying to solidify?
No, I just think she's the type of person where some people fought Bassoon once, so that's in her head, and that's what I'm saying about the men and the women. Sometimes it's a little bit different where, I'm talking about money and this kind of stuff. They're not as money motivated as us greedy men, you know. But she's more like, there's some doubt whether I won that fight, so I must rematch her. And you don't often get that in the sport.
For Rick and Jessica, I know